Ever wondered how solar flares, those magnificent eruptions from the sun's surface, affect us here on Earth? Solar flares are powerful explosions that occur on the sun, releasing a burst of energy and radiation into space. Recently, the Space Weather Prediction Center detected an X-class solar flare from a region on the sun's surface. These flares are potent, but it's important to note that their impact on human health and technology is often exaggerated or misunderstood. So let's break down the current understanding of how solar flares impact us. First, let's tackle health issues. Are we in danger when a solar flare hits? It's a question that's often asked, and the answer is not as straightforward as you might think. There's limited evidence to suggest that solar flares directly cause significant health problems for us here on the ground. Sure, these eruptions from the sun are powerful, but our Earth's atmosphere does a pretty good job of acting as a shield against most of the harmful effects. Now, when we talk about astronauts in space, that's a different story. During extreme solar storms, they might experience increased radiation exposure. This is why specific precautions are taken when these solar events are predicted. But what about the psychological impact? You might have found yourself feeling a bit anxious when hearing about an impending solar storm. This anxiety, however, is often due to media sensationalization rather than any direct physical health concerns. It's like when a big storm is forecasted on Earth. The anticipation can sometimes be worse than the actual event. So while the thought of solar flares can be intimidating, the actual health risks for us Earth dwellers are minimal. Remember, our planet has been dealing with these solar outbursts for billions of years, and life has continued to thrive. So relax, continue to enjoy the sunshine, and leave the worrying to the sunflowers. Now, let's turn our attention to our gadgets and infrastructures. How do solar flares affect them? Well, solar flares, in their immense power, emit electromagnetic radiation, often referred to as EMR. This EMR can cause disruptions in satellite communication, power grids, and other systems that rely heavily on electronics. Picture your smartphone going haywire, or your city's power grid going offline unexpectedly. Sounds chaotic, right? However, it's not all doom and gloom. The severity of these disruptions depends heavily on two factors. Firstly, the intensity of the solar flare itself. Not all solar flares are created equal, and their effects vary. Secondly, the vulnerability of our specific systems. Some technologies are more susceptible to these disruptions than others. But fear not, we're not sitting ducks in the face of these solar eruptions. There are mitigation measures in place to protect our critical infrastructure. Shielding, for instance, is used to create a protective barrier against these electromagnetic disruptions. Redundancy, too, plays a critical role. By having backup systems in place, we can ensure that if one system fails, another can step in to keep things running smoothly. While solar flares can cause technological disruptions, we have measures in place to significantly reduce their impact. So, what's the bottom line here? Solar flares are natural phenomena, and thankfully, our Earth's magnetic field shields us from most of their harmful effects. While it's true that these powerful eruptions can cause technological disruptions, the severity depends on the intensity of the flare and the vulnerability of our systems. But don't fret, preventive measures like shielding and redundancy significantly reduce their impact. Remember to focus on credible scientific sources and avoid sensationalized claims that can cause unnecessary worry. For more on this topic, check out resources from NASA, NOAA, and the Space Weather Prediction Center.